It is all too often said that there are no miracles performed these days. Well, we'd like to challenge this idea with our story of Fireflies. Welcome to Miracles in the 21st Century. I'm Daniel Verkerker.
And I'm Kaysie Verkerker.
And this story is about how we got engaged. So this happened during COVID. And as you know, during COVID, we had a lot of restrictions. And so while we were courting, we actually, that was somewhat a blessing because we could still, or I could still go and visit Kaysie, even though she was, in another district. Mm-hmm. And because there was allowance for this due to compassionate reasons. And so we were both very, very glad about that. And so I could visit her, she could visit me. But she couldn't quite visit her family because those were the rules. And as we were courting, we were already talking about marriage, and so we were heading in that direction. But of course, I needed to propose, and before I proposed, I had to seek permission. I wanted to seek permission, of course, from her parents, and so somewhere along those lines, I needed to talk to her parents, and also around we were even thinking before I proposed. We were even thinking about at what point we could potentially have a wedding, and anyway, so there were time limits. And specifically, you wanted to ask my parents in person. You didn't want to just do it over the phone. That's right.
You wanted to do it properly.
That's right. And so one weekend, we had this opportunity. We organized although Kaysie had no idea what was happening. She only knew that, well...
We were just catching up with my parents, my family, so...
And so, but I thought this would be a wonderful opportunity to actually speak to them. And so because of the rules, we couldn't meet at their place, but we could meet at another place. And so we decided to do this at a church in the hall. And so we were there, had a lovely chat, and anyway... Kaysie had to go to the bathroom. And as she went to the bathroom, I took this opportunity to tell her dad, I'd like to speak to you about Kaysie, but I would prefer to do it when she wasn't here. Anyway, he said, well, she's not here right now. Now, I have to tell you that initially I had planned to speak to him the following day. But this sort of threw me out a little bit, and I thought, well, okay, no time like the present, so I did. And so I sought his permission. He said yes, enthusiastically, and that was it, all before Kaysie arrived back. And when Kaysie arrived, it was as though nothing happened. She had no idea that I had sought permission from her parents.
Not even a whiff.
And another thing that I wanted to happen, because it was around this time that Fireflies were in season. Mm-hmm. And we had talked about the idea of me going to Cedarvale, where Kaysie was, and seeing these fireflies. That was a marvelous thing because I don't remember ever seeing fireflies, and so I was quite attracted by that idea. And I also thought, how romantic would it be to actually propose with the fireflies all around? And so I had actually prayed for that. I prayed that God would bring the Fireflies in full force. And so I had planned to go to Cedar Vale the following Tuesday, and that's when Kaysie and I were going to look at Fireflies, because at the time this was also during my holiday break. I'm a high school teacher, and so this was during my holiday break. And so there we were on Tuesday, and also I think we should say that we had wanted to see Fireflies prior to this as well, but they just weren't as...
There were many days with bad weather.
Yeah.
It wasn't warm enough for them, and so they just don't come out. And I had been at Cedar Vale looking for them, and Daniel, when he had come down, we wanted to see them. They weren't there because the weather was bad, and we were hoping, although it didn't look entirely promising, that when he was to come down on this Tuesday, that the conditions might have eased just enough that they might come out. So we were kind of just hopeful, but not certain that this would happen.
And so there we were. We were just about to go see the Fireflies, and I had everything ready in my pocket, and I was a little nervous, but that's okay. And anyway, so we went down, and this was by a stream close to a waterfall, really beautiful location, and surely enough, the Fireflies started to appear. And one by one, we saw them, and it was a really beautiful environment. And it was there that I proposed. And Kaysie was very surprised. But she said...
I didn't say anything at first. All I wanted to know is how you found out, how you got to ask my parents, because I thought, when did he get away? I've been with him all this time. How could he have gotten to do it?
Meanwhile, I'm down on one knee and I'm waiting for her response. And anyway,
was still forthcoming, and so then I ended up saying, "Of course."
And that's how we got engaged. And so we are just so thankful that the Fireflies were there, and that God answered my prayer for the Fireflies. And
and there's one other aspect to this, and that is, for some reason, I, in my mind, had thought about the Fireflies as well, because we're trying to see them, and I thought, wouldn't it be so cool if he decided to propose while we were with the Fireflies? Like, that would just be such a special thing.
But of course, she didn't tell me this.
No, of course not. And I had no idea that he thought about that and even prayed about that. And so it ended up being such an amazing, special experience.
Yes. And so God answered our prayer. And if he can answer our prayer, he can answer your prayer, and he still performs miracles in the 21st century.